Hello, algebra class. This is Miss Odell. Sorry about the difficulties today. I think I finally got it together. I'm going to go over this review guide with you. I want you to check your answers and then let me know if you need me to give you any further help with this, okay? So number one, what is the name of the terms that have the same variable and exponents? And that is called like terms because they are like. So the number found directly in front of a variable is a coefficient. I'll spell that for you. C-O-E-F-F-I-C-I-E-N-T. And you can always pause this video if you need to get something written down. So now any letter representing an unknown value, and of course that is a variable. And remember that can be any letter of the alphabet, okay? It's the unknown. Quantities separated by addition and subtraction are terms. Remember that terms are only separated by an addition sign or subtraction. What is the measurement of the number's distance from 0? And that is absolute value. Okay. Now, let's move on to the next section here, which talks about writing algebraic expressions. So remember to watch for the clue words. First of all, if you remember, the product of is a clue word. And remember that is multiplication, okay? So, and you're always going to place the number, which is a constant, before the variable or coefficient, okay? All right, more than and less than. These two are the most important in my opinion. They indicated inverted order. In other words, if it says x more than 3. So if you read this phrase, you would say x plus 3. But it has the keywords in it, so it's actually not written like that. You invert this order, meaning you write the 3 first and then the variable, okay? You only do that when you have more than or less than. Otherwise, no clue words, then you write it just as you read it. They say the words appear, but I like to say the way that you read it. So let's look here. The product of 4 and x is simply 4x. You're multiplying the two. The product of y and 5 is 5 times y. Remember, you always put the number before the variable. 13 less than. So if I read this, I would say 13 less than y. But I have keywords that tells me I'm going to invert this order to y minus 13. The sum of 10 plus x. Okay, there's no keyword, so you write it as it is read. All right, now let's practice these 4 right here, okay? So here we have, and here's how I like to do it, is I like to write this. So 4 more than is plus a number, which is a number is a variable, is 15. That's what I like to do. Then I go back and I say, do I have those clue words? Yes, I do. So then I'm going to switch the x and the 4. So x plus 4 equals 15. Okay? The next one. Let's look at this one here. So here we have 7 more than 1/3 x is 11. Remember, the word is an equal sign. Okay? So I have the key more than, I have the key word, so I'm going to invert this here to 1/3 x plus 7 equals 11. Okay? Here we have 2 less than a number equals 20. I have the clue words, so I'm going to invert these to x minus 2 equals 20. Twice a number is 30. Twice is 2. A number means a variable, and you're multiplying. Is an equal sign. So 2x equals 30. All right? Now, moving on here. So now we are going to evaluate not sure what happened here. Okay. I think that this needs to go over here. Okay, we'll fix that in a minute. Anyway, let's look at number 1. And it tells us the value of 4, 3, and 2. Okay, so I'm going to kind of write small so you can see here. So 2 times x is 4 times y is 3 plus x is 4, z is 2, so times 2 squared, plus y is 3 times z, which is 2. Okay, so you're going to multiply and then you're going to do your addition just like you would do order of operation. So 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24 plus 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16 plus 3 times 2 is 6. And you would add all of these together and you would get 46. If my math is correct here. 24... There, yep, 46. All right, so let's look at the next one here. It left off the z squared. All right, so let's go over here and put plus z squared. Then we're just going to erase this little...
It's not working.
What's not working?
This. Wait, are you still...
All right, moving on here. So here we have x squared, which x stands for 4. So 4 squared minus y times z is 2 plus z squared, which is 2 squared. Okay, so 4 times 4 is 16 minus 6 plus 2 times 2 is 4. So 16 minus 6 is what? 10. 10 plus 4 equals 14. All right? Now, let's move on, and we've got some here that are order of operation, okay? So just ignore this here. Ignore this here. It carried down when I brought it over to this file. Okay, so when I'm doing order of operation, remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So here I've got 6 minus 2 because I'm always going to do what I have in parentheses first, which would be 4 times 6 minus 2 is 4 minus 5 minus 3 is 2. So 4 times 4 is 16 minus 2 equals 14. Always remember to write your answers on the blank or circle your answer, okay? All right, so just ignore that all up there. I'm going to do what's inside my parentheses first, which is 2 plus 3, which is 5 squared, plus 5 times a negative 2 makes it a negative 10. 5 times 5 is 25. Plus, it's either plus a negative 10, or you can do 25 minus 10, which equals 15. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at number 3. Here we have 10 minus 4, which is 6 times. Notice that these two parentheses are right against each other. That means that you are going to be multiplying. So 5 plus 4 is 9. 6 times 9 is 50, not 60, but 54. Okay? Okay, so now here we are going again to do our order of operation here, and let's do our exponent first. So 2 times that 2 squared is 4 plus 11 times 4. Now I'm going to multiply first before I add. So 4 times 9 is 36 plus 11 times 4 is 44. And when you add those together, you get 80. All right, let's move on to the next section here, which are signed numbers. Okay, and I think that's on the next page. Sorry about all that confusion. But let me know if you have any questions on that. Let's move on over here. We've got a few more that we're going to do here. And these are signed numbers. They're also order of operation, but you're using negatives, which you had one negative previously. All right, so there are several of these. I'm going to try to go through these fast. You can slow the video down if you need to. All right, so I have subtraction, addition, subtraction. So I'm going to work from left to right because they're all addition and subtraction. So 5 minus 6 is negative 1 minus 8 plus 3 minus 7. Here, I have a subtraction, so I'm going to add a line, change a sign. So negative 1 plus negative 8 is a negative 9 plus 3 minus 7. Negative 9 plus a positive 3 when you're adding or subtracting, when you're adding integers with different signs, you subtract and keep the number, the sign of the larger number, and the larger number here was negative 9. Here, you're going to add a line, change a sign, and when you're adding and your signs are the same, you're going to add and keep the sign. Be negative 13, okay? Here, you simply got 10 plus a negative. Remember, if you're adding and you have a positive and a negative, you are going to subtract, and your sign will be of the larger number, which in this case would be negative 2. Here, the rules are different from multiplication. A positive 6 times a negative 7 is a negative 42. So when you're multiplying and dividing integers and you have two negatives, then they're going to cancel out. If you have one, then it's going to be negative. So I'm going to add a line, change a sign. So now I have a negative 6 plus a positive 8, and I'm going to simply subtract, and my answer is going to be 2. All right, now let's move on to number 5. Here I have a negative 88, and I have plus a negative 25. So you're going to add and keep the sign. And I will, when you do take this test, I will let you use your notes and your integer rules and your order of operation. That will help you. All right, so 18 divided by 9, and when you're dividing two negatives, your answer is positive. Okay, here we go. Here we have a negative 7 plus a negative 2. You're going to add and keep the sign, which is a negative 9 plus a negative 3 plus 5. Negative 9 plus a negative 3, you're going to add and keep the sign, which is a negative 12 plus 5. Here you have a negative and a positive. You're going to subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. Now, when you are asked to simplify, you're going to be simplifying these expressions by combining like terms and using the distributive property. Okay, so I'm going to subtract this and fix this, erase this and fix it just a second. All right, so we're going to combine like terms. Now let's refresh what like terms are. Well, let's refresh what terms are. Okay, so let's look at this here. So here we have a term. Here we have a term. Here we have a term. And here we have a term. So remember, terms are separated by addition and subtraction, okay? So here we're looking for terms that are like. Like terms have the same variable with the same exponent. Say it with me. Same variable with the same exponent. And these three here are like, okay? Because all three have x with no variable or an invisible one. All right, so 3 plus 4 is 7x minus 2x plus y. 7x minus 2x is 5x plus y. And that's your answer. You're not trying to solve because you don't have an equal sign. You're just combining your like terms. In this case, we have the distributive property. Everybody loves it, right? All right, so negative 7 times x is a negative 7x. Then you're going to bring down your addition sign. Negative 7 times a negative 2y is a negative 14y. Now, you can't go any further, but if you write your answer like this or like this, both are correct. We're almost finished here. 4 more. All right, so in this case, we are going to use the distributive property. So I'm going to go ahead and add a line, change the sign. I'm going to say 12 plus, and it'll probably be negative, but we'll put that there in a moment. So negative 5 times a positive 3y is a negative 15y. Negative 5 times a negative 2, remember we always use the sign in front, is a positive 10 because two negatives cancel. So this is your answer. And you can also write it Oh, wait, nope, that's not your answer because you're going to add these two together, which is going to give you 22 minus 15y. Okay? All right, let's go on here. We have these are like, and these are like. So we can work from here to here, here to here. Actually, this is a positive. Remember to always use the sign in front. 4xy minus 6xy is 2xy plus 9ab minus 3ab is 6ab, and that is your answer. Okay, move on down here. We have number 6. We're going to use our distributive property here, and you're distributing that negative 5. So negative 5 times a is a negative 5a. Bring down my addition sign. Negative 5 times positive b is a negative b. Here, I'm going to have an invisible 1, okay? So this would be negative 1 times 5a would be minus 5a. Negative 1 times 3b would be a negative 3b. Then I'm going to combine my like terms. Okay, so negative 5a minus 5a minus b minus 3b. Okay, this cancels. Oh, no, it does not cancel. You're going to add a line, change the sign. You get a negative 10a minus 4b, and that is your answer. Okay? Now, I missed one over here on 5. All right, so let's do this one real quick, and then we'll finish up. So negative, so I've got 4m plus negative 3 times 2n is a negative 6n plus negative 3 times a 7m is a negative 21m. You can combine your m's, and when you do that, you're actually going to subtract, and you're going to get 2m minus 6n, or plus a negative, either way. All right, guys, please let me know if you have questions. I will answer questions for you as you have them today, and before you take the test tomorrow. Have a great day.